Imagine opening your laptop on Monday morning and discovering that a project in your second location has been frozen since Friday. Not because the client wasn't there, not because the team wasn't there, not because the contractor kept you waiting, but because the person who needed to approve one procurement decision, that's it, just one, he was unavailable. Here's the strange part, right? Firm might have doubled in size because it opened a second location, maybe had multiple projects over there, maybe lots of revenue was coming in, but still it remained as dependent on you or one key person as it always was. Maybe more so because the count of projects has increased and the dependencies are still for the same people. Because the problem isn't that the firm has too many people, it's that the same decision making authority is still concentrated with those same people. So growth doesn't remove the bottleneck. In fact, it multiplies the number of things that have to pass through that tiny bottleneck. At five people, a founder can almost become the operating system for the entire organization. They know the client, they know the vendors, they remember the last conversation, they know what can be approved without asking. But that memory, it cannot possibly scale with headcount or increase in projects beyond a certain number. At 20 people, the founder will become the escalation point for everything. If you open a second office, that's probably going to create a second person. If there's a third office, another one. If there's a centralized procurement center, another one. The organization looks larger, sure, but the dependency, it's not been removed, it's just been distributed. And that's why delegation often ends up failing. It's because titles get created, people get hired to fill in those titles, but authority to delegate, that does not get changed. That still remains centralized. Think about three levels of decisions. Level one is like routine execution. These are the kind of decisions that a person closest to the work should be able to make without escalation. It's like drawing changes without some sort of an approved direction, right? Material substitutions within some defined parameters per whatever your SOPs are, purchases within authority limits. Level 2 is controlled judgment. These need senior review, but the review should happen inside the project record. A significant budget change, vendor substitution, design decision that ends up involving another discipline. And level 3, that's major, that's governance. These are major scope changes. This is a serious commercial exposure, contractual disputes, decisions affecting the firm's fundamental reason for being, its strategy. These belong with leadership. And you can take this test to really figure out if that's true or not. Take the last decision that was escalated to you. Now remove yourself from that picture, from that scenario. Could somebody else have taken that same decision tomorrow without asking you what should have been done? If the answer is no, then you've not delegated the capability, you've just delegated the workload around it. So let's firm this up with an example. Let's say that there's a site architect and he's just been asked to modify some detail, any detail. In a key person dependent firm, what does he say? He says, I'll check with the design head. Site waits, contractor waits, client waits, everybody waits. In a firm with unclear decision boundaries and decision rights, this is a typical scenario. Now take a firm with clear decision rights. Architects is going to check the approved parameters, SOPs maybe, confirms the changes within them, and then move on, right? Maybe record and then move on. Same project, same kind of people, same kind of a talent pool, different organization. The difference is not talent, the difference was the authority granted. See, the point is not to remove leadership from decisions. Leadership should make the decisions, but only when organizations cannot make the best possible decision without it. Everything else should be built into the organization as an organization capability, maybe like an SOP, because once you add more projects, every unresolved dependency that waits on you is going to get stalled and consequently it's going to get multiplied. And that leads us to the topic for the next episode. A firm can become really good at winning clients, but still become really bad at absorbing them. The dangerous client is not always the one that comes to you with the smallest budget. A lot of times, a dangerous client is the one that consumes the exact decision making capacity that you have, that you need to scale. That's why client growth sometimes becomes operational debt. We'll see this in the next episode. Thank you.